Good night, viewers, and welcome to this another program, Advancing the Cause. This program comes to you every Wednesday night from 6:30 to 20:00 hours. The official host of this program is Honorable Coretta McDonald, AAMP, and General Secretary of the Guyana Teachers Union. Tonight, we are going to be able to deal with the topic, the truth be told. But before we get into the topic, I want to tender an apology for the absence of the official host of this program, the Honorable Coretta McDonald, who is otherwise engaged and could not have been here tonight. And therefore, I am standing in for her. My name is Dennis Jaikran, and I am going to be the host for this program tonight. So the topic, as I said early on, would be the truth be told. And so there are a number of areas in which we are going to be touching on tonight. But before we get into that, the subtopics, so to speak, let me say to all of you, our viewers, how grateful we are, how appreciative we are for you listening and watching to this program. And more particularly, at the end of each program, you allow us to receive information, suggestions, and the way forward. And so these programs are so fashioned based on things that are current and based on the feedback we get from you, the viewers. And for this, we want to say how grateful, how appreciative we are. And we ask of you as viewers to continue to share with us your kindness so that we can be able to bring to you information that is so conformed and so accurate at all times and moments as we present ourselves on this program. And so the areas in which we want to touch tonight would be, or what we want to focus on would be, a number of subtopics. We are going to deal with some education issues. We are going to deal with some health issues. We are going to deal with the lack of enforcement of state agencies to perform statutory and legal duties. We are going to touch on the Tushau's conference, payments of cash grants, public accounts committee, noise pollution, issues of land to the Essequibo Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And we are going to deal with front organizations and the Guyana Rice Board. So as we commence this program, what is most important or what is in the atmosphere, so to speak, at this time is the recent signing of an agreement between the Ministry of Education and some members of the negotiating team, and I repeat, some members of the negotiating team of the Guyana Teachers Union. Sometime today, a number of teachers met me at a particular place. And they suggested to me that what would have happened then, I want to believe, last Friday, that they are now so disappointed because they were there supporting this protest action for better wages and salaries and other benefits. And so I am expressing that level of dissatisfaction of the teachers. And since that agreement would have been signed, every day I receive calls from our teachers across this country. And mind you, I say across this country because I work here in Region 2, I work in Region 3, I work in Region 10, I was a regional education officer, I was a regional executive officer, and I was principal of 2 technical institutes. I'm giving you that not to say anything about who Dennis Jaikaran is, but I'm giving you that background to say to you that based on those circumstances that I have contact with our teachers. In addition to that, I serve also as a part-time lecturer at the Cyril Potter College of Education. So I'm giving you these details about who Dennis Jaikaran is. So when I say to you that I am receiving or we are receiving on this program Advancing the Cause, submission from teachers, from public officers, and others around, you would now confirm why is it I am receiving such an information. And so teachers across this country are very much concerned. And they are very much disappointed. And from all indications, we would have noted, and they would have noted also, that whatever they would have received or are to receive as an increase in salary for 2024, 2025, and 2026, the non-salary benefits, and I want viewers to notice, and I want our teachers who are listening to this program to know that none of the non-salary benefits that are going to be given to you would so permit or allow you to have a package that is going to be greater at the time of your retirement. Because those sums of money, whatever it is going to be, once it is not a salary, it is not going to cause you to benefit from your pension, your gratuity, first of all, your pension. And therefore, you have to know that as teachers. And so we have to be mindful. And why is it we have to be mindful? Because we want to know of the few persons who sign on that negotiating team. Maybe we want to suggest that some would have benefited from administrative appointments. Some would have received, we want to suggest, a scholarship. Some would have been promised, we want to suggest, a position higher up in the ministry, maybe as director of NSORD. Maybe we want to suggest also that some are getting contracts with the government, which is conflict of interest based on their work situation. And then we want to suggest also that some persons might have benefited from lands, maybe in the west bank of Demerara, or somewhere along the line, maybe Wales or somewhere. And so these are things we have to take into consideration as we proceed to know who are the leaders we have in this union. And you might find me talking so much about this union because I held various positions in this union since I was 17 years old and would have been in the classroom. I became involved in the Guyana Teachers Union. And so that is the first area we want to cover. Very many persons are covering these areas, but we want persons to understand because teachers are calling us out on this program. They are calling me out as an individual, as a former person in the education system. And therefore, we are of the opinion that as on this program, we should say to you what are the things we want to suggest might have caused something to happen. And so we move now to the second point in the education issues. This is more the Ministry of Education Guyana teachers issue. And so this is a point we want to make before we go into that there. I noticed Ejel said that they are now doing a new highway, the new Linden Highway. But I have news for Ejel that the existing highway that we have there was done under the PNC government when Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham was Prime Minister of this country. And we must not allow people like Ejel and others to rewrite history in this country. We must bring them to bear and show them the facts. And so by no means they can erase the work of Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham or the work that the People's National Congress would have done during that period while in office. And so I want to make that point before I move into the presentation, so to speak. On the education issues, I want to touch very quickly on CPC. As information come to us, we ensure we give you that information. And so across the regions of this country, where CPC centers are existing, that persons are concerned, and we are expressing these concerns on this program, that they are very disappointed that AMs, meaning assistant master mistresses, without any level of qualification, without any level of experience in administration, are taken and are dumped and forced as heads of center across the centers of this region. And that is very disappointing because you are not getting the desired results from teacher training in this country. And I'm going to come at the CXC results and this whole myth about it, which says that persons must drop subjects, remove a language from the timetable, and give more to maths. That is not the solution. Persons who have not been in the classroom, persons who have not managed education system would not know. And so we are going to allow them to know tonight. So the other point that the persons make and the teachers in training or the teacher trainees are very much concerned about the way in which the persons who are employed as part-time lecturers at these centers, the way in which they are putting over themselves. They are not clear, they are not precise, they are not to the point, and it gives the teacher trainee a hardship in understanding, in navigating their educational path. And therefore, those persons who would have been considered for part-time lecturers without any, let me make it clear and straight, without any public advertisement, were pinpointed, were pitchforked, and are there and not doing justice to the system. And therefore, we have to take note because teacher training is an important aspect in the education system. And when we speak about teachers training, we want to speak about quality training. And that is important. Not the number of centers you have or the number of students you graduate each year from CPCE. It is the quality. And note well that we are not placing any blame on the teachers in training or the teachers who would have graduated from CPC. We are saying that the lame system that they would have been placing at teachers training college is caused them not to benefit from a full package of training that is supposed to be given to them. And therefore, there is need and there's cause of concern in this very situation. Early on one of these programs, I said to you that we have to be on the lookout for a situation. I alerted our viewers about it, and I am now confirming that what I would have said happened. And this is what happened. There was a particular district education officer in a particular regional department of education, district education officer 1. And so that person would have boasted when that document from the chief education officer went to these cadet officers and officers who they asked to apply for DU2. And mind you, the chief education officer, as normal, was out of his turf because he was using the letterhead of the Police Public Service Commission to write to education officials. And the CEO can challenge me that. And he can even challenge me in court. I'm going to produce the document because I have it carefully stashed away. Because this man is making so much mistake in this education system, it is a shame to know that he is a chief education officer of this country. I'm coming to 2 pieces of correspondence that I have before me here that he would have made a mess of with them. But let us come back. So this person applied, and this person, forget about whether interview or not, as boasted, would have been appointed a DU2. And I said that to the viewing public. And that person, it is alleged, was appointed because that officer has, at the Public Service Commission, a very close relative who advised the officer that despite the fact that the officer would have been appointed DU2, and it happened. I am now asking, where is the Guyana Public Service Union? And I'm asking this question about the Guyana Public Service Union because during the entire fiasco or the 75 days of protests by the teachers, our teachers, was there a word of solidarity said or granted by the Public Service Union to our teachers? And I recall that some years ago rather, that an individual was appointed as an administrator of a certain hospital in this country. And a goodly lady from the Public Service Union ensured that she made it her duty to cause this person to be stripped from his job. But she did that person well because he's out of the country and he's now managing a massive business. And so sometimes when things happen, It is not for the disappointment of it, but for the progress that you would make thereafter. So I brought that to your attention early on. It happened now, and I want to see what is going to happen because persons would have been affected. CXC results 2024. As normal, the Ministry of Education, without them understanding what measurement and evaluation is all about, proceed to celebrate the 3 or 4% of the students who would have matriculated at CSEC in any year. And so they are telling the 95, 96% of those students who would have wrote CSEC that they have to find their way and nobody is going to celebrate them or nobody is going to celebrate with them. And so at this stage, this program takes this opportunity to extend and express our congratulations and best wishes to all the students who wrote CSEC 2024. And we are not singling out high flyers and those low achievers. We are congratulating all the students. And by extension, we are congratulating all our head teachers, our teachers at secondary, primary, and nursery level for ensuring that they cause our students this year who would have written CSEC to have advanced in certain areas. And we want again to congratulate them. And so if you look the trend about the entry into nursery schools, you look at the numbers there. Then when you look at the numbers going into primary school, there's a decline. And the number of pupils rather who go from primary school to secondary school, there's a further decline. And when the students at secondary school are presented for CSEC, there's a further decline. So when you look at the number of students that would have been presented in any year for CSEC, and you look down the road where they were in nursery school, that number there's a great disparity between the entry at nursery in that particular year and the number of entries or students writing CSEC. And that is what we have to examine before we come to celebrate the 5 or 6 or 4%. And that is what the education system should look at. So we now need to turn to the preparation for the reopening of schools. It is a sad and dismal situation. Our information, as alleged, said to us this: 15 secondary schools, 18 primary schools, and 9 nursery schools are not in readiness for the reopening of schools for the Christmas storm 2024. Alleged. Let me say to you and let me give you the numbers. As alleged. The Ministry of Education can justify that. 15 secondary schools, 18 primary schools, and 9 nursery schools. As alleged. are not in readiness for the reopening of school for the Christmas storm 2024. And viewers, you know that whichever part of this country you live, excuse me, in whichever region, you might know in your particular region that there are nursery, primary, and secondary schools that are not in readiness for the reopening of school on Monday, which is Monday, the 2nd of September, 2024. Sad situation. Sad situation in the Ministry of Education. And not only that, here are these things. That these schools that would have been examined and the compounds theory, these were the discoveries. One, that many of these schools have very poor sanitary facilities to be fixed. Bushes and high grasses are in some school compounds. Broken and inadequate pieces of furniture. Over and understaffed schools. We were advised, and we very well believe that pathway workers are now teaching children. The ministry needs to look at that. We are saying to you what information we would have received. Leaking roofs, broken stairways, inadequate furniture for our teachers, no drinking water. Some schools still use pit latrines. And this is what the Ministry of Education is doing. They are now doing a survey to determine how many schools in this country are still using pit latrines. Shameful, disgraceful as a Ministry of Education. Now they are doing a survey to determine how many schools are using pit latrines. And so the viewers, you have to understand that the subject, the topic we are talking about, the truth be told. And that is what we are doing here. We are telling you the truth. We are giving you the facts. And where chances are, we give you the figures. An issue of non-payment of teachers and head teachers for traveling to seminars, workshops, and for our head teachers to be able to travel from their school to the Department of Education. In whichever region they live, they have a timetable to say what time they must go to the department to submit records. And so once that is the request by the Department of Education, the head teachers and the teachers must be paid for that particular activity or event. And we are advised that when teachers and head teachers attend seminars and workshops and head teachers meetings, or when head teachers leave their school and they go to the department to hand in their monthly reports or other reports or important documents when called upon, they are not immediately given their return passage, so to speak. This is a disgraceful and unwarranted situation. And I say this to say to you that every year at a particular time, there is the preparation of the work program, budget, the estimate, so to speak. And then that goes through a number of processes. And then there is an appropriation bill. And that gives rise to what amount of money would be received by any department, whether administration, agriculture, health, public works, education. And so those are the 5 programs that operate in any region. And so under education, there is provision for traveling and subsistence. And once teachers and head teachers are not paid, then that region or those regions are not badly, but they are poorly managed. And that is what we are talking about in the education system at this stage. And so the state of our teachers are very depressing because they are not getting, and especially in the hinterland when they travel, they are not getting. But I want the teachers and their teachers to know that provisions are made for you to be paid. And any good manager, Department of Education manager, would know that they can use a system to do early planning, submit the necessary documents, and be able to cause themselves to receive an advance to pay our teachers. It is simple management. And our teachers continue to suffer because the departments of education in this country are poorly managed. And so I thought it best that based on what information we receive, we should bring it to the attention of our viewers. We want to move now quickly to health issues. Some time ago, we indicated to you that despite the fact that in a particular region, you have adequate transportation facilities, more particularly the health department, more than adequate, so to speak. The public hospitals, sorry, and I'm going directly to it, it is alleged, is hiring a minibus at a rental cost of $500,000 per month. And it is further alleged that the owner of this minibus is a very close relative of a very senior Department of Health official in Region 2. And that is very bad because the region has adequate transportation. The Department of Health has adequate transportation. And this one spreads across because it was brought to the attention of this program that very many of these transportation, so to speak, vehicles and what have you, including the ambulance, that is personal use of these vehicles to go shopping, to go to different recreational facilities, to attend all sorts of things. And therefore, it is not keeping in line with normal practice of any department. And therefore, it is time for us to be able to call out. They get vexed and they get annoyed. But if you sit in public office, you have to account. So we are calling out the Auditor General. And we miss the boat sometimes because it is not only the Auditor General, it is the Accountant General of the Ministry of Finance. It is the Finance Secretary of the Ministry of Finance. This is a man who at every Public Accounts Committee gets up. Well, not in Parliament. He doesn't go there. He stays from his office and he does virtual hearing and presentation. Okay, we are working on this document. We are going to change it. Ask him, since he took that position, or since he would have pitchforked into that position, how many pieces of correspondence, how many circular he would have attended to? None whatsoever. And every time there's a public account, oh, we are looking at it. We have completed it, or some sort of thing that is going to throw public accounts committee. And you hear them not ask any further question. And these things are not going to do good for this country, so to speak. And so, as it relates to that, it is reported again, allegedly, that there is shortage of drugs and medical supplies in our health facilities across this country, alleged and as reported in some cases. And so it is time for the Ministry of Health, the various departments of health, to say to the public if this is true and why it is so. Because these are all things that would have been alleged, and therefore we have to be able to bring it to the attention of the public. So we again ask the Auditor General and the Accountant General to be able to look at this. Without turning our attention to, and this is a repeating situation that we are going to deal with, lack of enforcement state agencies to attend to statutory and legal authorities. Over and over on this program, we would have been asked to advise of the operation of an illegal and unauthorized workshop in a residential area. And there is continuous letter writing to 5 agencies that I'm going to list just now. At least 4 letters since May of this year to these agencies. And to date, apart from the Guyana Power and Light and the NIS with 2 half-hearted response, not even credible to believe that anything is going to happen. No response from the Ministry of Labor, no response from GRA, no response from the Environmental Protection Agency. And this whole situation of this establishment of an illegal and unauthorized workshop in a residential area, there is this continued noise, dust, and chemical pollution. And as I said, that until and unless something would have happened, then one of these agencies would then be reactive in this situation. And so let us go through and see what is happening. Let us start with NIS. Once you are in an employed, whether self or with any agency or person, you have to honor NIS obligations. This is not happening. You have to honor GRA obligations. And this is not happening. As it relates to the Ministry of Labor, they are tolerating the situation of child labor. It is evident there. They are causing a total disrespect and disregard for the Occupational Safety and Health Act to 1997. The Ministry of Health, sorry, the Ministry of Labor, there are no signage there. For example, safety begins here and all these sorts of things. These people don't work with safety gears. The noise is eminent throughout the day, early in the morning, late into the night, Saturdays, Sundays, holidays. There's no rest for people around the area. Well, mind you, some people would say because they are appendages that are benefiting from the illegal establishment, meaning shops and what have you, they are going to say no because whenever there are clients at that illegal and unauthorized workshop, they get the benefit of it because sale is in their favor. So these things happen. But we are bringing it to your attention, and it is across this country where many people are suffering, and this program is told about that. Then it is the Environmental Protection Agency. They have a duty, a state duty, because they are paid with taxpayers' money, with state funds, and they have to do as expected of them based on what they are paid for. And they are doing nothing. And then you come to the Guyana Power and Light. It is alleged that this very workshop is paying for domestic consumption of electricity, whereas this particular illegal and unauthorized workshop is consuming industrial electricity. And GPL sits idly by and does nothing. So right now I am calling out on these persons because I'm coming to the situation of the fire situation just now. I am calling out the Minister of Labor. I am calling out the Guyana Revenue Authority. I am calling out the NIS. I am calling out the Environmental Protection Agency. What more? Which one more did I leave out there? And GPL. Because they would have failed people, not in only this case, but in very many other cases. And that very situation, it is only time when there is a big fire, so to speak, and when all will hold their heads and say that they should have come before. The time is now for those who are listening, speak to them. If you have contact with them, speak to them. They need to act. They need to give people the desired results. And I heard the Attorney General yesterday saying about something about freedom of speech. And if the man next door is playing his music loud and it is disturbing you, that he is enjoying his freedom of speech by listening to the music. But on the other hand, he is disturbing your peace. I hope that those same principles as established by the Attorney General Anil Nand, 'Lal' 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 ' of this illegal and unauthorized workshop. And so it is very important that we are able to speak to this issue, because a fire or a disaster is waiting to happen. I now want to turn our attention to the Tushau's conference. Sometime last week, the Tushau held its annual conference. But I want to make 2 points to correct history again. The first point I want to make is that scholarship for the Tushau didn't start in 1992 or after then until 2015 or during that period. It started long before then. And I'm giving you the name of a person, and I'm giving you where he was educated. I'm giving you where the scholarship was made, and I'm giving you his discipline. The name is the late Roy Payton of Mashabo. And so he was given a Government of Guyana PNC scholarship to attend the University of Guyana Faculty of Technology to pursue the Bachelor of Engineering program in civil engineering. He completed that course of study, and he then worked with the then Ministry of Works as a civil engineer. So I want to make that point and to give you the name of the person, the discipline, the scholarship, and where it was given. The second point I want to make, because my comrade Marvin Williams last Sunday pointed out some of these things and did not allow history to be rewritten. And so these 2 points I'm making also would add to that. And I think he made this point, but I think I need to emphasize this point, that the first conference of captains, in those days they call them the captains of these communities, would have been held in the National Assembly in 1969, when Forbes Burnham was Prime Minister of this country, and he convened that conference for the captains. So this program is of the opinion that we should be able to make those very serious anomalies without turning our attention to the payment of cash grants. This is a very sickening and sore situation in this country. And the first point I want to make, that any payment that is made by this government, it is not a Government of Guyana money. It is not PPP money. It is our money. It is taxpayers' money. It is state money. But it is very discriminate in the way it is being distributed. And to give you an example, we were advised, and it is alleged, that some 2 weeks ago, that in various parts of this country, and in very many cases, they would have pointed to the chairpersons of some of these NDCs, convened special meetings. And it is alleged that they were asking people to sign for, allegedly, so you can't take me to court to say I say this, I'm saying allegedly, said they were asked to sign for $100,000, but they are not going to receive now. They are going to receive it later. And it is alleged that in one of these NDCs, the chairperson, I want to believe, I don't recall, as alleged, some time ago prepared a check in his name for over $100,000. And because he was a signatory to the checking account of that particular NDC, he asked another person who would have been a signatory, as alleged, to sign it, and he withdrew, or he encashed, so to speak, that check to his advantage. It is alleged, but we want to bring it to the attention. And why we are bringing it and we are making the point of cash grants, because it is alleged that it is an NDC chairman who did this. And because it was some of the NDC chairpersons, as alleged, that call these meetings, that is why we are making mention of it on this program. And then we are told, and it is also alleged, that in some cases, in one home, or in very many homes, let me put it this way, while some homes no person received, in some homes, the grandfather, the grandmother, the mother, the father, all the children in the home, all the grandchildren in the home, all the pets in the home, because all the pets had name, they received grants, allegedly. There's another home where the mother received, where the father received, where the son, who is allegedly a policeman, received, the daughter received, allegedly, the in-laws received, the grandchildren received, all allegedly, and they are all working with the government. Is this not, as alleged, a discriminatory act and a condign act as it relates to the spending of state funds, the people's money? And so this program would have been told about these things, and we were asked in a very special way to speak about it on this program. Public Accounts Committee. Just before Parliament went into recess some 2-3 weeks ago, there was this sitting of the Public Accounts Committee. And Region 3, I'm pointing to the region because I served as REO for 4 years in that region. And they were examining the 2019 report. And lo and behold, I don't know what it was alleged, that the accounting officer who sat there to answer the Public Accounts Committee, the questions that would have been posed, that he was so dense, allegedly, and because he was not versed, allegedly, in personal matters, he was not able to answer questions. And then the point was raised and the question was asked if there was a regional medical drugs and medical supply stores. And the answer would have been by the one of them, I don't know if they are rich or I don't recall, said that they establish that store. That is totally far from the truth. Because when I served as RU, there was a regional stores for drugs and medical supplies. And I very well know who was the medical superintendent at that time, who was the RHO at that time, who was the person in charge of the pharmacy at that time. I might not recall their names now, but I think I know, but I don't recall their names. And that store would have always been there. So I want to erase that from the minds of the people in the public or the viewers, because they can keep that for their records in Parliament. They can record it there. But that is a falsity, so to speak. But I know the truth. And if that was not there, then how would the region would have been able to receive drugs and medical supplies from the Ministry of Health and from what they would have been able to purchase? So the person who said that he or she established that store, that bond, so to speak, it is far from the truth. And we are saying here tonight that our topic is, what is it again? The truth be told. And that is what we are doing here. But in some cases, once you ask people who are school dropouts to manage any organization or agency, secondary school dropouts, they will always make a mess of the paint, so to speak. And that is what is happening in some of these regions. And there's a certain school dropout, secondary school dropout, who likes to write himself letters. And he did that a number of times, trying to implicate people. But again, the truth be told, and when the call would have come for that person, when he was serving somewhere else, when that call would be there, he would not have an opportunity to write himself any letter. Whichever region that person in, he or she knows him or herself. And the time of reckoning is coming. The time is near. Another noise pollution has brought to our attention. There's a so-called businessman, and I'm calling out here the commandant of Region 2, and I'm calling out the commissioner of police. What's his name? His name is not that important, so I don't recall his name, but the commissioner of police, whether he's acting or performing the duties or what. And the commandant, I don't know his name, I never seen him in this region. But it is becoming disgusting. And that is why the people are reporting these things. That a certain so-called businessman every night, every afternoon, he and a number of forces would gather at his premises. And up to late in the night, Saturdays and Sundays and holidays, like the illegal and unauthorized workshop, would play dominoes continuously, disturbing the peace of the environment, enjoying themselves. Attorney General, you spoke about the issue. This is another one. And not only that, reports would have been made to the Anna Regina police station as alleged, because they would want to run here at this house. But I can give them my address. I can give them my full name. I can give them the times when I am at home. It is alleged. Commander, it is alleged. Commissioner of Police, it is alleged. Minister of Home Affairs, it is alleged that reports should have been made to the Anna Regina police station and that there's total cover-up. And it is further alleged that this same so-called businessman who ply his trade at the Anna Regina car park also creates, in a very special way, noise nuisance to the dissatisfaction of those who dwell there among. And again, it is alleged that reports have been made to the Anna Regina police station and nothing, absolutely nothing, has been done as alleged. So I'm calling out the commandant, I'm calling out the commissioner of police. You have work to do. You are receiving our money. You are receiving state money every month, whether legally or illegally, you are receiving it. Work for it. Don't stretch your hand and collect money that you do not work receiving. Work for it. And when you spend it, you are going to enjoy it. I now want to turn to the issue of the issuance of land to the Essequibo Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Let me give you the background. There's a plot of land at Richmond next to a church. Prior to that land being given, whether legal or illegally, to the Essequibo Chamber of Commerce and Industry, that land was donated to the then Three Friends Walton Hall District Council by Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham to construct a nursery school. And that construction of the nursery school was done. And the name of that school was LFS Burnham Nursery School. Am I getting over the point, viewers? But that nursery school would have been removed from its original location and placed or constructed at the back of the same village, Richmond Village. And so when that was removed, they also removed unceremoniously, illegally, and unconstitutionally the Ministry of Education or whoever removed that name of that school, LFS Burnham Nursery School, and renamed it without any official gazetting of it to Richmond Nursery School. So you are now destroying the legacies of Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham, as he would have donated that land to the then Three Friends Walton Hall District Council for the construction of a nursery school. But you would have given this land to the Essequibo Chamber of Commerce and Industry to build an office. And whereas you have very many poor people need some plot of land, you have the church that could have used that land and develop it for its parking area. But that is another story for the church. Let them represent themselves, or let them pray about it so that they can be able to see the fruits of their labor and salvation in their praying. And so I need to, because it would have been brought to our attention, and I thought it best that we should be able to bring it. Front organization. In the 2020 elections, a number of front organizations, small parties, pushed their heads up, so to speak, registered as political parties, and went to campaign in the elections. Whatever the results would have been, that is another story. But right now in this country, in every region, so to speak, there are front organizations that are carrying on the campaign in different ways and in different forms for the PPP. One such organization as allegedly said to us, is the, um, let me see what name they would have given, the Lions Club. And as alleged, this organization used to be a charity organization with their own funding. But when you see the kind of persons, and this is not to bring down any person that is there, they are more needy than to give charity. They are in the charity seat, but they are not there for charity. They are there to represent and to make certain representation for a particular purpose. Mind you, it is alleged that some of these persons who are employed by the state to perform state duties, important duties on a daily basis, find themselves using the resources of the state to go and perform duties in different parts of different regions for them fulfilling their goals and objectives as was told to them. So we have to bring that to the attention of. I already dealt with the issue of um, the Guyana Teachers Union Ministry of Education. On Sunday of this week, the 1st rather, of September, at 10 hours, the Ghana Public Service Credit Union, Cooperative Credit Union, would hold its annual general meeting, and I thought it fit that as a concerned citizen, I should make that known and ask that you support, and if you are a member, to be part of an engagement that is going to be worthwhile. Henrietta Pump Station, another point. This program was told, and it is alleged, that a private citizen is now converting the Henrietta Pump Station into a private residence or into a residential location. If that is the situation, then Sheikh Baksh, as normal, is wasting time. And all he is fit to do is to give people in Georgetown and elsewhere brown water. I call out Sheikh Baksh, the CEO of GWI, whatever you call it, GIWGWI or what have you, for the people responsible or the agency responsible for water, to address the issue as raised, because it might very well be one of their friends and family and favorites. So I bring it to the attention of them here. Advances. And here I'm calling out the Auditor General, the Accountant General, and the Finance Secretary. You don't hear about this in the Auditor General's report any longer. And maybe because they would have recognized that all these outstanding advances in different regions and ministries are owed by their friends, their families, and their cronies. And as such, there might be an advice suggestively to the Auditor General, to the Accountant General, and to the Finance Secretary not to look into that direction. But whatever advances are there, those advances are the money of the people of this country. It is state money, and it ought to be properly accounted for. We are told, and it is alleged, that there are billion-dollar programs in Region 3, and it is further alleged that none of these programs or projects can be seen or heard of. And here again, since the Auditor General and all his officers were so proactive during 2015, 2020, that they should be so proactive. And based on these allegations as put, that they can find out about all these billion-dollar projects that cannot be found allegedly in Region 3, and who are the persons allegedly involved, and who are constructing homes for billions of dollars. These are the things the Auditor General. Oh, maybe I missed this point. Where is the Integrity Commission? They were so busy, left, right, and center every day. Those of us who were in public office, they were busy, 6, 7 returns for the same year. They were so busy that they didn't even remember they sent one, and they sent 6 others after. They wanted to know so many things. How many times you went to the toilet for a day? What is it you defecated on that particular day? What is it you are doing in your home? All sorts of things they asked you on that form. Check the form. I know they might change it now. But I can't find my form, so that if you ask me, I can't find the form so that I can't verify it. But I'm making a point that they were busy then. They must become proactive and busy now. Same thing for the Ethics Relations Commission. They were busy then, waiting for who would call which name. These are things that are happening where the truth must be told. And that is why this program is coming to you every Wednesday night from 6:30 to 8 o'clock. And from all the feedbacks we would have been having, that we are told, and we very well believe that this program has a very, very effective way in touching the lives of persons. And I want to quickly, in closing, touch on 2 real ridiculous circular as sent out by this fellow you call Saddam Hussein, Chief Education Officer. Again, dated the 10th of January, this man really and truly needs some training, some teaching. And I want to suggest that I can do a seminar or workshop for these persons, the CEO and all his officers, all his redo, including his human resource manager, to sit with them and to work with them and to bring them up to scratch. What is it is required in the public service? How is it they are going to construct pieces of correspondence, especially a memo? But I've been bringing this to the attention of the viewers, and maybe he is listening because they were listening to this program when they took action about the school board secretariat. And mind you, right now, the exams division, they would have sent a DEO 1 to become senior education officer. And they have a deputy chief education officer. And they are trying to put in a boat to sail away some person. I don't recall the name and the position of that person, trying to sink that person because of the mess. You know, as it is, National Grade 6 results are still not yet concluded properly. It is alleged. And it is alleged that they are trying to throw some person that would have been there years and years ago under the bus because that person did not make the mistake. But somebody who they would have sent, or persons they sent or later would have done that. But let me come to the thing there. The circular says the opening of and closing of schools. I want to make 2 points. One is that this gentleman still doesn't understand how is it to write a circular. I'm not going to deal with that. Or a memo. And then once you are putting the opening and closing of school, there is a difference between the academic year and the calendar year. If you do the academic year, you are going to give guidance. If you do the calendar year, you are defeating the purpose. And this is what he would have done to this particular memo. And the second memo is that they are trying to increase the number of at the regional inventory, meaning the number of education officers and other officers. That is not going to solve the problem because they are already spending billions of dollars in the education system and they are not getting the required output because the input is so poor and the spending is so, well, I had wanted to say wisely, but unwisely done, that it is not meeting to the real concept of the delivery of education at any level. And so while you are increasing the number of officers, you are not doing justice. You are creating room for the employment of more persons that are being positioned in redundant cases. And it is simple. Like it says here that you have District Education Officer 1 and District Education Officer 2. I'm reading for a particular region. It says 1 Regional Education Officer, 1 District Education Officer 2, 2 District Education Officer 1. Right? One is for literacy and one is for special education needs. What is the difference between a DO1 and DO2? They are doing the same work. They are doing the same work. But I guess these persons don't understand what is the difference between. They also have a DO for nursery, primary, secondary, and TVET. The DO1 and DO2 is the same. So again, there is duplication of duties, and this gentleman doesn't know. And this circular has had to be guided by persons who are known for misguiding persons in human resource aspect and misguiding them in every aspect of personal matters. And that is what is happening in the education system. And so as I close, at this stage, I want to, on behalf of this program, to express to the immediate family members and relatives and friends of the late Genevieve Whitehead our sincere sympathy on the passing of a very great woman, a mother, a leader, an educator, a person of integrity, a person who would have had many challenges while serving as acting CEO and would have never been confirmed because of discriminatory acts. She's gone. She's no more. But her memories, her legacies live on for those of us who were fortunate to work with her, to receive, to have, and to hold the level of her leadership. Once again, this program takes this opportunity in conveying to the relatives and friends and family members of the late Genevieve Whitenet our sincere sympathy. May God allow you to take it in good faith, and may her soul, rest in eternal peace. Viewers, I want to thank you very much for the time you would have spent with us tonight, and we look forward for your feedback. We look forward for your continued guidance, submission of information, and we want to ask of you to continue to look at this program every Wednesday night from 18:30 hours to 20 hours. Good night. Have a good and blessed night. Thank you very much.